What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Joel Friday TV podcast. I am Joel Friday. Bienvenido. Welcome to the show. It is Wednesday. We are here and we are back at it again. Do me a favor, hit that like button, smack it. Lay the smack down on like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we can get the subscribers up and a message out. Do it now for your boy. Topics to be covered today. What are we talking about? I don't know. Let's take a guess. Valentine's Day. It is February 14th. It also marks the 1 year mark that I've started my podcast. I started last year, 2023, on February 14th. And it is my anniversary. Happy anniversary to Joel Friday TV podcast. Amazing stuff. So today we're going to talk about my view on the whole Valentine's Day thing and how I believe about it, what I think about it. And, some other things as well, if the Lord is willing. So if you'd like to talk about it or get into it or argue or disagree, you can call in at 888-775-3773 at any point in the show, preferably early. So that way I can get to your calls in a timely fashion so we can, get into the conversations. So you can do that. For whatever reason, let's just say you can't call in because you're busy or you're at work, but you still have a question or comment or something. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV, and there you can send your question or comment or just support the show. And I'll read those comments live on air and dialogue that way. Or you can go directly, for my boomers, you can go directly to the super chat button, which is in the chat box here, and send a super chat with a question or comment there as well. So either check the link in the description or just go straight to the YouTube chat box. Amazing stuff. Oh, yeah. And if you'd like to listen to the Joel Friday TV podcast, audio only, not live, but past shows, I am on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all those shows as well, all those platforms as well. I'm there, so you can find me there if you prefer audio only. It's easier when you're driving and stuff like that. So, boom. Let's get into it. How's it going, chat? What's going on, chat? Karen Williams says, I subscribed. Right on, Karen. Appreciate you. Keep on carrying on. Happy anniversary, Joel, says Chris. Thank you, bro. Yeah. Cool. Happy Valentine's out there, folks. To you and your loved ones. The ones you go broke for. The ones you spend your last dollar, your rent money on. The ones who one day received a gift and then the next day slit your throat. To the ones that remember and feel happy and smile that you got them some roses, or vice versa. But then tomorrow, cheating on you. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm being negative. But happy Valentine's Day to y'all. Let's get into it, though, because I have some things I want to say about it. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on it as well, chat. And callers, you guys can call in at any point, 888-775-3773. So my view on Valentine's Day. I think that it's okay to celebrate it. You know what I mean? Like, It's okay if you want to celebrate and do the thing. I'm not against it or like have this conspiracy theory about it or like trying to like put it down. If you want to celebrate Valentine's Day, do you. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you're into, do you. And I've done it before. I haven't had many relationships, so I think I've only done it a couple times, if that. Um, but I've done it, so I'm not against it. But I think what tends to happen is that where I don't agree with the whole Valentine's Day thing is the expectation part and um, men and women. Well, it's really a woman's holiday. It's really not for men because I don't even know if men even receive gifts. I don't know if men ever get gifts on Valentine's Day. I think it's all about the woman. You know what I mean? Like, and I think what tends to happen is that like um where I don't agree is placing the value of the relationship on the effort put in on this one day. You know what I mean? To where like if it's not special, and what is a scale? What is a special scale, right? What is that? You know what I mean? And that's why like guys tend to like go so overdo it because like there is no such scale. But on this day there tends to be this imaginary scale of on what special is to somebody. And so it becomes about the effort they do. So they'll spend hundreds, maybe thousands, I don't know, hundreds of dollars on, this one day just to make the person feel special, to show them that they care. And that's where I think that it's just out of pocket, in my opinion. And what I think is, I think that the day, if you're going to celebrate it, let the day be about thankfulness, right? If you're going to get something cool, but let it be about thankfulness. Let it be about being thankful for the person that you are deciding to spend your life with, right? And let it be a reflective time of like, okay, on this day, the person that I'm with, let's say it's a man. Is this man, like let's just say a woman's thinking this, right? Maybe a woman should realize on these days that is the man that I'm with, does he do what's right? You know what I mean? Does he do the right thing? Is he a good man? A decent man? Does he put God first over me and my feelings or whatever the case may be? Is he a strong man? And for the men, maybe the men should reflect on, is the woman tough, right? And what I mean by tough is that can she handle not being catered to? Ha ha ha. You know what I mean? Can she handle the man doing right by her and sometimes being straight up and honest with her? Right? And sometimes that honesty can be a little bit, harsh, mean, rude, or come off that way at least, right? But can she handle it? But also, is she tough enough to be able to give the man space to make mistakes? You know what I mean? Allow him to sometimes step out of pocket, not intentionally, but sometimes, be a little bit too harsh or too straightforward or whatever, right? Or step out of character for a second. You know what I mean? is she tough enough to be able to handle that and not like overreact or go crazy or try to seek revenge or ghost you? You know what I mean? Stop talking to you for a week or two, or you know what I mean? Like, these are things that should be reflected upon on these days. You know what I mean? Instead of thinking like, well, how do I get back in the bed? Because I'm in the doghouse right now, type of thing. Or how do I make her happy? So I think that Valentine's Day itself is not necessarily a wrong thing, but it's the how we go about it. I don't think we're smart about it this time. I mean, oftentimes. And I've been thinking over time, not just for the sake of Valentine's Day, but just thinking in general about like my intention and what I want, and like what I like if I am to get married, or if I'm to start a family, what are the qualities I would want in a woman? And I used to have all these like things that I would want. Like I want her to, and this is like things that you think a Christian would want. I would want her to cook and clean, take care of the kids, because, you know, based off of a certain order, while I'm out like working and providing for the family, and you know, have a home cooked meal as soon as I get home. Like, I want her to be able to be respectful to the man of the house and follow him as he leads the way. All those things, right? Those are like, well, like my standards and stuff like that, and what I wanted in a woman. And not like those things are wrong, but I deleted all that. Control, Alt, Delete. I did all that. Because in the natural order of God, that will happen. When two people are right for each other, that eventually will find its way. That will happen, especially if you're putting God first and you're not doing all the crazy stuff. That stuff will happen. But what's more important, what I realized, and what should be really focused on, is this. And I realize my only standard, because you should have a standard when you're dating and stuff like that, right? Because you don't want to be settling for anything in the name of wanting something. You should have a standard. And my standard is just one simple thing. Is that she has to be working on herself and want to overcome and want to be better. If she's not doing that, then I don't want her. Nothing against her. Wish everybody well. No judgment, no hate, no nothing. Like, but the way I live my life and the way I see my life going is, and the only way anything would work with the type of person I am is that their heart has to be, their cup has to be empty. Meaning like their heart has to be pure in the sense of wanting what's right, wanting to overcome, wanting to be better, working on themselves. Because that's what I'm doing. And if she's not doing that, and I've been in the situations where that has been the case, then it's always going to bump heads. You know what I mean? It's always going to bump heads. And you're going to outgrow the person. Because if they're not growing and they're not, being honest and willing to be honest and overcoming, then it's just going to be problematic. But I also, with that standard, with that standard, I'm also not expecting them to come in perfection. As in they knock on my door and they're the perfect wife in the making, right? In the flesh. I'm also not having that expectation. So all I just said was that they have to be working on themselves. But the condition that they're in when they knock on my door may not be perfection, may not be Christian, may not be conservative, right? Because there's a lot of Christian, conservative, and all these people, men and women, who say this and have these titles, but far from it, are not the real deal. And they may mean like they want to, but then their hearts are still wicked, not open, not working on themselves. It's just all for pretend. So I'm tired of these titles. I'm tired of like people pretending one thing and it's not. Look at the heart. Look at the heart. And people's words, you don't even want to just be following people's words either. You know what I mean? You want to just, as you get to know them, you get to see who they really are outside of what they say and outside of what they do. No words and no actions. You guys are probably like, what is Joel on this morning? But this is what I believe to be true. Is you just start to see like who they really are. And if you get a glimpse into that, if you're able to have the insight and you can see that the person is truly working on themselves and seeing how they deal with situations will also tell you if they're working on themselves, right? Then that's how you know if you're going to be pursuing it or not. Not based off a checklist. You don't want no checklist. He or she has to have this, that, and she has to tell me that she is going to be in the home raising the children, and we have to agree, and we have to both say it out of our mouths and make this agreement that she's going to obey me. Just because she say it don't mean she's going to do it. I know that for a fact. Because every man loves to hear those words, I will obey you. Every man loves to hear those words. Isn't that crazy? Every man loves to hear those words, I will obey you. Because we get a little high from it. Yeah. But don't mean she's going to do it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. You got to say, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't even like those conversations. I mean, it's okay to have them, but it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if it reveals much. I want to see it to be true. I want to know it to be true. And that's what I'm into. I'm into knowing. And when you get to know the heart The heart is where the knowing is. So that's where I'm at. Let me check some super chats. Let me see what you guys saying here. Call into. You can call in 888-775-3773. The lines are open, and let me know what you guys think about Valentine's Day. And like what it should be about. Right? Browdy says this is a thrill-seeking holiday. It can be. As a matter of fact, that's really what it's popular for. Is the thrill-seeking aspect of it. Zorak 90 says the lesson is be about it. Words are empty. You learn more from their actions. I necessarily don't even trust the actions, and I know this sounds so crazy. I necessarily don't even trust the actions because people do things that they don't mean to do or want to do, but doesn't mean that they're intentionally trying to hurt you. You know what I mean? The intentional part comes from like their unwillingness to work on themselves. And you'll also know that by paying attention to the heart, right? Getting to know the heart. The unwillingness to work on themselves is the intentional evil. And sometimes we make mistakes and we do things that like, you know, we get caught up in the mind or get caught up. But we shouldn't be judged by those actions either. And we may say the wrong things or say something to be wrong and we think it was true in the moment. And we also shouldn't be judged by that. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think we should be judged by words or actions. But when you step back and you reflect and you just kind of, not even just, I'm not trying to make it so deep here, right? But when you just step back, there is like a language being spoken about a person without words or actions being involved, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like the true essence of a person kind of is revealed. And it's kind of the reason why we like certain people, even if we may not agree with them, right? Like, there's just a quality about them that's just like decent that we like about them. And it oftentimes is in like opposition of like what we expected we would think about the person. Like a lot of people who call JLP show, Jesse Lee Peterson, a lot of people disagree with Jesse's opinions, right? On life and everything. But yet they keep calling. They keep calling back. Right? Because he's not being, I don't know how to explain it. But they just know there's a special quality there that they like him. He's likable. And people recognize that. And that's what comes from him, right? So it's like you're mad at him, but you can't stay mad at him, type of thing. And that's why I think people keep calling back, even though they disagree, they say they hate him, right? Because they have fun and enjoy talking to him on the phone. So I think that's what is the revealing part. But let me let me take some calls, or let me take a call for now, and maybe we'll get back to some other stuff. Kaya out of North Carolina. Kaya, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Joel.
How's it going?
It's funny to me how you say my name so loud like that.
I gotta scream it. I gotta scream it.
I appreciate it. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. I figured it was only fitting since you're the love doctor.
You see that? That's right.
And I had a question for you as well.
Yeah.
Something I'm thinking about, well, that I notice a lot when I'm at work, and I just left work. So when men and women go out together, whether, let's say they're already in a relationship, right? They're married or what have you. If a woman is behaving in an unbecoming way in public, or being rude, or just getting beside herself, she's going unconscious a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that a reflection of her man? And is it the man's responsibility to show her the proper way that a woman should behave, or does he just understand her and leave her where she's at?
I don't think it's in his position to try to show her, but he should address the situation and bring it to her attention.
What do you mean not in position to show her? What do you mean by that?
Like, he can't show her how to be a better person other than his action by example, right? But he can't like try to teach her how to behave, but he can just address it in the moment, and just say like, hey, like, you know, you're a little out of pocket here, or however he decides to say it, like you're whatever. And when he says that, it brings it to her attention. And from there, she has the choice to either work on it or fix it, or continue to do the same thing. And if she does, then that's a red flag for him.
Nice. I wondered that because I see a lot of women that I see them out of control, and I see a man a lot of times who has given up, or maybe he's unaware that she's out of control. But every now and then I get couples and I see that the man knows that the woman is not making a good representation for herself or him. Yeah. I can see that he sees it, but maybe when I walk away, they correct it. But it's almost like a sadness is over these men that can see it, but they've never done anything about it.
Yeah, that's the thing that, like,
have you ever?
I've seen that before, and in matter of fact, I've experienced that in a previous relationship, to where there was things that were said that I just felt were disrespectful or whatever the case was, and I would always address them, but I didn't know at the time that when I addressed it, she would say it, or she would like do it again, and I would keep addressing it. And where I went wrong was I shouldn't have to keep addressing it. If you keep doing it, then you're not working on it, and I don't need to be involved here. So I think that guys gotta know when to address it. You address it, but also know when to walk away and not accept that behavior.
Yeah, I agree, but I have a question based on what you said now. So, like, in your situation, and I've been in a situation too, where whatever behavior has been addressed, some time goes by, you know, you haven't done whatever it is in a long time, and then here you go doing it again. And like for me as a woman, the thoughts start telling me, like, look at you, you are never going to get it together, right? Yeah. But then the other thoughts are telling me, well, I'm trying, you know, how long is this going to take for me to get better? Like, how do you know if the person is trying and they just suck, or I'm sorry, they're just not getting it versus a person who is just pretending?
Well, that's
how do you tell the difference?
Yeah, that's a great point. Is that you just, as you're getting to know the person, you can just kind of tell if they're working on themselves or not. You know what I mean? Right. And also communicating. I think that is a big, and it seems cliche, but that's like the biggest thing, that is probably the most important thing that you can do, is just try to understand what the other person's mindset is like by talking about it. Because sometimes they're doing these things, and like you said, they really they're really trying, but they keep like stumbling. But if they express to you and say, "Look, I'm really trying," and they just say exactly what you just said, but it's hard for me. I'm working on. Then that brings a little bit of understanding and patience to the other person. So talking about it, I think, is important.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It reminds me of it's old news, but I was married before, and there would be situations that would happen. I don't even clearly remember any of them anymore, but I remember I would have these moments of consciousness where I would be looking at this same issue, and I would be going to myself, why am I still having this issue? What's going on? And then, but because I didn't know why, a lot of times my belief was something that he wasn't doing to help me not be like this anymore, or something ridiculous. I remember vaguely having that belief for a little while, but then I also, like now in my life, I notice how I will still go unconscious, and anytime if I go unconscious, I'm returning to these behaviors of like escapism or victimhood, but I don't even really want to.
Yeah.
And then when everything's said and done, I can come back and go, man, I really didn't want to act like that. But I almost don't believe that I didn't want to be. It's like what you said in church. I almost don't believe I didn't want to do it, because why do I keep doing it?
Right. Well, there's also an element. There's also an element there is that if your boyfriend or husband is not properly putting his foot down and not accepting that, you're also not gonna change either. So there is an aspect of like,
that's true.
you know what I mean? Is like if human nature in general is gonna take advantage of people. It's what it does, especially when you go unconscious. The ego and the nature of evil is gonna take advantage of people. But when you have somebody who puts their foot down and says, "Hey, I really don't like that. It's disrespectful."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they mean it when they say it, and you hear it in that way. It makes you be more aware of yourself because you just have this like respect for this other person. So
because they are telling you the truth,
right? But they're firm about it.
right?
They're straight up about it, and oftentimes men aren't that way. So men will try to be a certain way, but they don't know how to put their foot down to where like the woman has no other choice but to respect it.
Yeah, the only men that I've experienced that with are men that I haven't been in relationship with in that way. When I say relationship, I mean like traditional, like boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. But if like men, there's two men in my life that have been able to tell me the truth and say, no, that's not right. And I don't get that resentment. And I believe it is because the relationship is not tainted. It's not for personal gain anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when I was in the world, like the Christians say, everything was for personal gain. So if the relationship didn't benefit me or make me feel good, when those moments of truth came and the so-called putting the foot down, I found that it was easy to resent the man because I didn't want to be corrected. But now that I want to be corrected, I can even relate that to my brother and I have an older brother, 15 months older than me. Most of our issues that we have ever had were because he was trying to tell me the truth and I didn't want to hear it. But now that we've kind of come past that, we're able to have a relationship where we're just like friendly with each other. He's my brother, but there's no more like, I'm not judging him anymore. And if he wants to tell me the truth, I can accept it, but I can also recognize when his viewpoint is a little bit skewed because I'm not judging him anymore.
Yeah. See, that's what you say right there is key, is that the person has to be open to wanting to accept that criticism. And it's not like the person is supposed to be always criticizing, but you still should be open to it. And especially in a relationship, in all relationships, friendships, whatever, there has to be a reverence. A woman has to have a reverence to the man, and the man has to have a respect for the woman. Because let's just say, for example, if the woman is like going unconscious and then she's saying like things, she's running her mouth, and the man doesn't put his foot down and she feels it, there's a reverence there that every time that situation comes up again, she has that memory of like, no, I
Yep.
don't want to disrespect him. No, I don't want to, because there's a respect there. And if that's not there, then the man should question, like, okay, well, she's not listening for one, but for two, maybe I'm not, stepping up to the plate either. So,
But you know what? Now that you say that, I don't know if it's even always a matter of maybe I'm not stepping up to the plate, because as long as a woman, as long as there's any inclination that I have something to gain from this man, whether it's ego or financial, or it's all ego at the end of the day, but we
yeah,
can call it all these different things. As long as the woman is still believing that she's entitled to gain that, there's going to be that fogginess.
entitled to gain
There's
what?
always
Entitled to gain what?
entitled to gain the man's time, or his commitment, or his money, or
Yeah,
whatever it is. Like, let's say if I have a crush on you, right, but you don't reciprocate it, I'm already going to still be mad at you all the time because you won't reciprocate that crush, until I wake up and realize it really doesn't matter if it's reciprocated or not. I like you because I like you,
right,
not because you like me back.
right. And
But it
that's,
takes time
yeah,
to realize that that's what really makes people stay together. It's not this, like, do for me, do for you. You just
yeah,
have to be there because you're there, not
yeah,
because of what they're going to
yeah.
do for you or to you.
Yeah, and I think that's where it gets tricky is that feelings. So what you
It's
just
hard to admit that,
yeah,
really.
no, it is, but what happens, what seems like it happens is that when the feelings get involved, and that's why we really like have to watch feelings, because feelings, the emotions, um create all these like, well, they don't create it, the thoughts spark the feelings, but what it does is like it makes things more than what it needs to be. It's
Right.
telling you all these lies, it's making you feel like you owe something to them, they owe something to you. And when you get caught in that, your judgment is fully clouded. You completely go into the darkness. And that's why
Yeah.
we have to be able to, and it's hard to do for men too. For men and women, it's hard to do because we have to learn how to separate ourselves from our feelings that come up at times, to be able to recognize when we're just being delusional, or when we're being what we need to be. So it's just a
Yeah, I
crazy thing.
noticed, like, and then I'm going to let you go because, I'll just go and go. But
It's
I noticed that maybe it's
all
not
good.
hard. Maybe it's just that we don't want to accept the stillness, because when you really are still, literally nobody matters. No
Yeah,
one's opinion of
yeah,
you matters.
yeah,
Whatever happened, nothing really matters when you're just in the moment. And
yeah,
and I can even say this as a mother. Like, if my daughter's upset with me about something, it really doesn't matter to me, although I care of
yeah,
how she views me. But in that stillness, none of that matters, because in
yeah,
2 minutes we're moving on. It never happened.
yeah.
But when we're sitting in the thought, absolutely, we're going
Exactly.
into the dark, and now all these imaginations and fantasies and Lifetime movies
Yeah.
that we watch, we rather would have that, even
Yeah.
though the stillness is 100% the comfort. That
Yeah.
is the comfort.
Exactly.
But yeah, we just get so mixed up. And
Yeah.
my friend, we have a mutual friend, Isaac Palmer. You know Isaac.
Oh
We talked
yeah.
before, and he used the same thing. He said, yeah, it really is hard waking up. And I told
Yeah.
him the same thing. It's
Yeah.
really not that it's hard. We are just so comfortable with the wrong part.
Yep.
So when the right
Yep.
part comes, we're like, what is this? But when
Yeah.
you're really, really sitting there and honest with yourself,
Yeah.
you can see that the stillness is right.
The stillness is right, and I
It's
talked
right.
and I talked about this a couple episodes ago too. Is that we also don't want to be in the stillness, and a lot of times it's like, okay, well we just don't. No, a lot of the times we just don't. We enjoy the feelings of it. We enjoy the emotions of it, and we go with that, opposed
Yeah.
to realizing the stillness and committing to the stillness, even though there's that
Yeah.
pain and that suffering. But
And the boredom.
the boredom, like you go through it, and if you're not going through it, we have to be honest with ourselves and be like, hey, I really just don't want to go through it. I'm
Yeah.
unwilling. So good point, Sky. I appreciate it. Yeah, good convo.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate your time, and it's nice to agree for once, yeah?
I know, right?
All right, happy
Right
V-Day. Have a
on.
good one.
All right,
Bye.
you too. Bye. Right on. I'm okay with disagreeing too. Disagreeing is fun as well, especially if you're not like offended. But yeah, she makes a lot of great points there. At the end of the day, are y'all both willing to overcome? That's the only way any type of relationship is going to ever work. Friendships, relationships, whatever. Are you guys both willing to overcome and work on yourselves? And Kaya said something that was very important, that resentment for the other person when they speak the truth only comes up for a person who is not ready to overcome. So if they're resenting you for being honest and the resentment is rising up in them, they're not ready for the truth. They're not ready. And that's a sign for you to step back and be like, you know what? They just don't, we're just not in the same space. And you also want to check yourself and make sure that you're not constantly walking around as the corrector, because I've been that too. But regardless, if you are or not, if the other person is resentful, you want to take a step back. All these get revealed. This is all the fruits of the heart. That's what I'm telling you. All this is fruits of the heart. You could just tell. You could just tell. So, yeah. If a man or a woman are both seeking that and are on the right page, then yeah, celebrate Valentine's Day and get them a gift. You know what I'm saying? Get them a gift. Show them that love, because they've been working so hard to work on themselves and be what they need to be. Get them a gift. But for the sake of making somebody happy and smile and all that stuff, I don't believe in Valentine's Day for that reason. Nah. Nope. That's funny. I was talking to a song. I got a few minutes left here. A little bit more than a few minutes. But I was talking to a song. And there was this like, I don't know what to call it. Wait, hold on. Before I get to that, let me make sure I don't miss any super chats. Wait. Let me get the super chats first here. Can you hit me with the super chat button?
Super chat.
Super chats.
Let me get to this. Joel, this is from JLP Talk. Joel, how can you tell if a girl vibes with you before you ask them out on a date? Also, what's a good first date idea? How can you tell if a girl vibes with you before you ask them out on a date? If you gotta try to tell, then I wouldn't do it. You just kind of know. I don't know. You just kind of know in that moment if there's something there, right? Like you kind of get the signals to where like, okay, you know, this is what it is. And to be honest, I believe you should see those signals first before you approach people. I don't think you should cold approach women or men, meaning like women approaching men, because you don't know what that's weird to me. like they could be married, they can be all these things, right? You don't want to just walk up cold and be like, hey, like, how are you? Because then it's a weird vibe too. You want to be able to have an agreement without verbally having to say it, but just have an agreement with each other that like, yeah, we're vibing. And then you move. 'Cause now both of you guys kind of already gave each other the permission. And what is a good first date idea? Whatever comes up in that moment, because there's no good first date idea. You know what I mean? Like, you want to take them, just do something light. Like, nothing like that involves too much romanticism. You know what I mean? Like, don't movie, Netflix, and chill on date one. Don't invite her over to your apartment or your house on date one. That's weird. Like, take them out to the mall or like to a restaurant and like keep it light. That's my advice. Because when you take it too deep, you create an expectation. Thanks, JLP Talk. I think he says he sends another one. Oh, I think it's the same one. Okay, let me check. Right on, JLP Talk. I hope that made sense. Picnic. Ain't no wrong with a picnic. But picnic is kind of like, that's not first date vibes. Picnic is like you guys are kind of like 10 dates deep, feeling each other, liking each other. That's more like intimate. You know what I mean? So I was real quick. I was there was like this headline that popped up and it was talking about polyamory is on the rise. And polyamory is when you can have like multiple relationships or like you're in multiple relationships or multiple marriages at once. Excuse me. And Hassan made an interesting point is that like people, he said that like, and I'm gonna let him come on and say it, but like basically that people think that that's the only option left because so many men are what? You just say, Hassan? So many men are like gay and.
Well, yeah, I'm just,
Can you put yours?
Oh yeah.
Will it work?
How do we do this here? Basically.
Nope. Unless you that black. Oh no.
Hold on, let's see.
Can you go back to me until there you go. Nope. Nobody there. There you go.
Oh, there's me. Okay.
We'll switch back and forth if you can from there.
Okay. Right. Well, yeah, just basically, from statistics, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm pretty sure there's more women than men percentage-wise.
Yeah.
Already, just from stats.
Yeah.
And then, so there's already more women than men. Then once you start to, gauge how many men are in prison or in jail and all this mess.
Yeah.
it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then you start to calculate how many men are into this, radical lifestyle of the LGBT.
Yeah.
That's becoming more and more.
Yeah.
And then if you just look at how many men are just basically like broke or complete just like almost, just kind of out of it, so
not up to par.
Yeah, so it's like there's not many options, I don't think, for women. So all I'm saying is I'm not for this, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not for whatever it's called, polygamy or polyamorous or whatever. But all I'm saying is women are going to have to start being okay with doubling up.
Ooh.
Is my point.
So
And I don't. Again, I'm not condoning it.
no.
I'm just saying it's
No. So we may get into this tomorrow because I'm almost out of time here. But I also want to know what you guys think about the topic. But it's interesting because statistic-wise, like Hassan is saying, is like the numbers are kind of like, okay, at what point? And I wonder if women kind of think about this. I wonder if this is a thought that women have, like when it comes to justifying themselves being with a man who has multiple women in general. It doesn't have to be marriage, but like there's rappers and musicians who are female who are okay with their man having a bunch of other, or them being the side piece, or them being the main one, but they're proud to be the main one. But that's if you're being called a main one, that means there's other ones, right? But a lot of them are okay with that. And I wonder if it has to do with what Hassan's saying, this idea of, well, there's not that many men. So maybe I'm gonna get into that. Maybe we'll touch on that tomorrow and like do a deep dive. We'll see how it goes. But as of today, I gotta end. Rick, if you can go 30 seconds and make your point really quick, because I gotta end here, that'd be great. Rick, welcome to the show.
Joel, what's going on, my brother?
All is well. How you doing?
I'm fine, man. I'm fine. It's always good to hear your show, man. Your show
Appreciate
is
it.
picking up steam, man. I love your show.
Thank you, man.
Well, I'm going to say for Valentine's Day, it's just like you said. It should be, hey, you bring your best. You work on yourself, And to me, a lot of people get together that are broken.
Yeah.
When you're broken, you tend to attract somebody more broken than you are.
Yeah.
And then both broken people say, you ain't feeling my need. You ain't feeling my need. And they both broken.
Yeah.
It's like getting, and especially I can say in the black community, most people don't like to get spiritual counseling, man. They sit there and have their trauma, and they hold on to their trauma until they're 60, 70 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And never dealt with it.
Yeah.
And now you can't be no good in no relationship at all.
Yeah. Exactly. Got to be willing to, I agree, got to be willing to work on yourself and overcome, or it's always going to be toxic. But a lot of people like that toxic, weird type of relationship. It gives some type of enjoyment to them. So we got to watch for that too.
And you know what, Joel? I don't like when people are toxic, they tend to pick you apart, trying to make you who they want you to be, instead of you, just like what you just said, instead of you working on yourself.
Exactly.
You work on your. Go ahead, Joel.
No, go ahead. Make your last point.
Yeah, and instead, like I said, if you work on yourself, then you don't have time to look at the other person. But at the same time, you want a person to be aware of what they're doing. Because to me, I can compromise stuff that when it comes to morality, usually I don't compromise. That's if I know it's straight wrong and you like thinking it's good. So I say you still in a diabetic coma or either unconscious one.
Right. I got it, Rick, but I appreciate it. Thanks for the comment on that, and I agree. Call me again, man, and we'll talk some more.
Okay, will do, man. Love y'all. Y'all be blessed.
All right, thank you, Rick. Appreciate it, guys. I got to end. American Anchor Baby is coming in right now for his show. You don't want to miss it. Switch right over. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to spill you guys right into his chat. So wait for that. Until next time, Joel Friday TV amongst all platforms. I got to go. Bye.